How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be taking a look at how the best team in the world, Vitality, takes a site on Nuke. In this example, they were on a mixed buy where they only had 2 AKs, a Galil, and 2 Tech 9s, but they still managed to pull off the round win against a fully equipped Astralis CT side. I'm going to show you how they did it, and then I'll break down all the utility in a refrag.gg server. So they start the round off by breaking out all the glass above T-roof. It's important to do this every single round, even if you don't plan on throwing utility. That way you always keep the CTs guessing. Apex heads up on top of T-roof to get into position to throw the bulk of their utility. All the meanwhile, Spinx slips into hut without the CTs noticing, and thanks to ZywOo's spamming, they end up luring Stair into hut for an easy entry. Right as Spinx ends up picking up that frag, Apex is beginning the site hit. He starts off by throwing a top hut Molotov, then immediately following that up with the 2 A-site God flashes. And looking at these from the CT perspective, you can see that Stown has to turn from the first and then gets immediately roasted by the second flash. That second flash also has device read and braille the second he climbs up on top of heaven. And while all that's going down, ZywOo throws a smoke for Mini and ends up Molotoving off the second vent. This pretty much keeps BlameF from mowing down all of Vitality as they're exiting hut. And the final piece of utility to notice here is that as Vitality is entering out of hut, Flames ends up mollying off heaven, and then they kind of take their time as they clean up the rest of site, get that bomb down, and just like that, they have the site and they have the round. So let's go ahead and break down all of this utility. Apex starts off by throwing the top hut molly. He just jumps on top of this little vent cover, and he lines up with the very end of this line right here that intersects with the top. He looks up and he finds these 2 little screws right here. They're kind of different looking than the others. He just goes up and to the right of those, and he does a run, throw, and releases just before he falls off this little metal vent piece. It's going to land right here on top of hut and fully molly it off, leaving pretty much no gaps. This one is kind of difficult to throw based on timing, so on occasion you're going to leave a small gap somewhere on the hut. I don't hit it 100%. In this situation, it left a little bitty tiny gap right here, but generally the CTs are not going to be able to recognize where exactly the gap is, and they're probably going to jump off of hut. And if you're struggling to hit this Molotov based off the run throw timing, I know I struggled with it quite a bit at first, and still occasionally can miss this Molotov in game. I would recommend that you go right here into this position on the very far side, right? There's this little line right here on the corner, and you can just find this line. You can always find it just by knowing it would be kind of the far left of this window pane and going all the way down to the bottom of this white line and just doing a simple jump throw. And that every single time is going to go down here and it's going to hit, and it should spread almost all the way over. It's going to leave a gap on this side. So if you're throwing this almost every single time, the CTs may pick up on that and start trying to play to it. But hey, if you just cannot hit this other lineup, this is definitely better than nothing. And right after Apex threw that Molotov, he dropped down to this position right here and just did a simple jump throw with a flashbang right here at this little divot above the yellow fence. Very simple jump throw right here. And what makes this flash so good is that it drops all the way down and it doesn't blind your teammates as they're running out of hut. As you can see, boom, it goes on the other side of default here, not blinding them at all. Same with anyone coming out of squeaky and peeking like this, not going to blind them. And of course, anyone up in heaven, well, they're going to get absolutely toasted by this thing, as well as anyone up in rafters or just down here on backside, as you saw what happened to Stown and Device. I definitely recommend throwing this. It's great for pickup games or solo queue because your teammates don't have to turn away from this. And finally, for the rest of the utility throughout this execute, it's pretty much just thrown on the fly. Early round, a lot of times you're going to have someone just nade out squeaky here. And in ZywOo's situation, he'd already kind of cleared out the early angles. So once the site hit started coming through, he just smoked off Mini and then mollied off second vent just like that. No lineups really necessary for this. And same with Flames after he gets that first kill as they're pushing out. He just ends up, walking out here and just left clicking a molly up into heaven. Pretty simple stuff. And just like that, all of that utility combined really dominated Astralis into this A-site hit. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you learned something new, let me know down in the comments below. If you want to see more content like this where I break down a professional round and then show the utility, let me know because I'm really enjoying making these sorts of videos. I hope that you guys are as well. Feel free to join my Discord if you find any cool utility. Feel free to share it there. You may end up in my next video. Anyways, guys, see you in the next one.